Hey, Liron here. This is going to be a quick one. I want to show you something that once you incorporate it in your painting process, your work is going to explode in quality. And it's also meant to address a lot of the questions I've been getting on the patches technique, which is where you basically place two washes one next to another of two different colors and the ability to maintain a separation between them. So you get a smooth edge, but the shapes are relatively independent. They don't blend together completely. The confusion comes from this. So many artists are stuck in the 0 to 3 realm, which is how I kind of invented it and I call it, where you only paint the lightest values. You're either using just clean water with barely any paint, thinking what you're doing is making an impact, or you're using a bit of paint, so like a 2 out of 10 value. So again, 0 is clean water, 10 is like the paint straight out of the tube. I'm not talking about necessarily like the darkest version of color. I'm talking about how mixed it is with water. So the darkest version of a pure color, not black. So this like straight out of the tube would be a 10, right? And then if it's extremely watered down, that's gonna be a 1, for example. So many people are stuck in that realm of 0 to 3 where every shape you paint and every wash you paint is super duper light. And what often happens is the shapes do mix a lot because of that. But here's what I want to show you. If you go up the scale from 4 to 10, let's say, so I'm going to have this beautiful carbazole violet, and we'll go for like a juicy version of the paint. So check it out, right? This isn't like a very dark. This is a 4, maybe a 5. It looks dark. It's not really that dark. And then let's place right next to it a really dark iteration of quinacridone burnt orange. Okay, so I'm just gonna dig into my paint here. I know you can barely see it. Here we go. Dig into it and just place a very dark iteration of it. The colors are obviously going to maintain their independence, okay? So when you look at the realm of lighter, and I'm gonna go on the other side here and just use a lighter carbazole violet, and still the washes are gonna pretty much maintain their independence. There are a few reasons, and there is a bit of a nuance here, so I'm gonna give you like a superpower, okay, by the end of this video. It's going to be really accessible. I think you'll really like this one. But you'll notice the shapes are relatively independent. If we look here, right, the shapes are relatively independent. So the thing is, when you're stuck in that beginner level where everything you mix is very light, you will end up with things mixing quite a bit together and less control. And that's fine, right? You paint really light, it's just a mess. Maybe you come back with too much water, bad timing, right? You get blossoms, etc. Which nothing wrong with these effects. You know, blossoms aren't illegal, but they are a thing that happens a lot unintentionally. So if you focus on that higher range of values, and I will challenge you, if the way you paint is just with very careful vanilla, kind of cautious washes, I will challenge you to just go ahead and use a dark paint. Do it now in your next painting. Just go ahead and include a very dark paint, see what happens. If you focus on that upper scale, you will see how it's easier to maintain the separation between shapes. But there's one more trick, okay? So if you're truly a master of the medium, you can get that same effect with the lighter colors too. And the way you do it, you might have caught on how I do it on paper here, is how you use your brush. So if I have almost just clean water, right? And I want to place a shape down next to it that is still quite light. Notice what I'm doing with my brush. See this? Notice what I'm not doing. I'm not doing this. The more you dab, the more the paint will spread out. And that's something that happens to a lot of people. The biggest mistake is actually going too light and then coming like this, and you're not only are you not making an impact, you're actually creating undesired cauliflowers very slowly. They're going to happen once the paint dries. So for example, if I go back here and I look at this dry paint, right, I'm coming back with way too light of a wash. The moment I touch this, I'm going to get a back run, okay? A cauliflower is going to open up all the way here. You'll see in a second. That's the biggest mistake. But if you want to maintain control, look at these two edges. Look at how this relatively maintained its edge. This one didn't. Because the way I do this, I can demonstrate it right here for you. Down under the what I currently have, the way I place the wash, notice, is without dabbing at all. I'm just placing it down. Let me show you once again. One go. I have done a video on this topic, the secret to wet and wet. If you want the paint to not spread out too much, so I'm gonna start by pre-wetting with color. It doesn't matter, you can pre-wet with just water, that's fine. So just more like a clean water. I'll obviously have to switch out the water in the water bucket to get a really clean water result, but you get the point. So let's say I have this watery wash here, right? And I want to place paint in a way that will, first, if it's really flowing wet, you're gonna have a hard time either way, because what you're placing there should be stronger to maintain its independence, so to speak. But let's say it's not too watery, so I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of maybe pick up a bit of it. It is quite watery though, you can see it still flows. I'm gonna grab a stronger color. Let's vary it up. Let's use like a red. I'm gonna grab a stronger color and check this out. I'm gonna move the brush without stopping, and we've maintained that border. Unlike this very worried, kind of timid way of slowly dabbing, right? Look at the difference. This is huge. This is how you paint strong swatches of color right next to one another, and I can easily fill this page up with lots of these and have them of different values, of light values too, and have them really maintain their independence, because there's no waste in my movement. It's just, again, a light wash. I can even get away with a light wash here after the timing was done. Like this is starting to dry, but check it out. We're gonna get this to work with wet paint. So check it out. Just like so. Will you get some cauliflowers? Maybe, but look at how the paint has been, it's been maintained, right? The placement of it has been, now here it's too late, it's just fully dry, right? If I'm gonna come back here and do this, right, it's just dry, but as long as you have that bit of glimmer, right? That bit of glimmer, you can get away with placing down that kind of a shape right next to it, and you'll be fine. So this is kind of my advanced how to control things. It's advanced, but it's also very basic. It's basic because I use it in almost every painting process. So I hope that gives you something to think about. Relatively quick video. If you master this, your paintings are gonna go on another level, and not only that, it will feel like watercolor. And that's, I think, what a lot of people crave, and they just don't know how to get there. If you crave free watercolors, you want it to look free and juicy and flowy, and have watercolor do their thing, you know, have these beautiful effects of these beautiful stuff, that's how you do it, right? And if you want to dive deeper on that topic and everything else I've been showing here, check out the frustration-free watercolor course. I'm going to link it down in the description box below. I'll also link down the watercolor realism course if you want to take things to a higher level and capture things realistically. And I do want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. Have had a nice flow of new people there, so thank you so much. If you want to receive credits at the end of the videos and also access to some exclusive processes there, be sure to check it out. I posted a recent behind the scenes video. I plan on posting another process exclusive there soon. Be sure to check it out. I will talk to you again real soon. Take care.